How we doing? Just real quick, couple of things. Now I'm in my 50s. I'm starting to forget things. And the other day, you guys asked me about the wideouts, and I didn't mention Omari. Omari's had a great training camp, and we're expecting him to have a big year. And I want to make sure that I address that. You didn't think you don't read more into that than just being 52 years old and forgetting. The other thing is, Kincaid showed me an article that somebody had wrote about Javen Williams switching position to guard. I don't remember saying that. I talk about Javen getting reps at guard to create flexibility like we do with all of our offensive linemen. So if I did say that, I apologize. But I want to clear that up. He has not moved full-time to guard. It's the position flexibility that we're always trying to create on the offensive line. So I just want to clear those things up. If I misspoke, I apologize. Or if I was misinterpreted, I just want to clear it up.
James, that West Virginia rushing attack was huge for them last year. Your defensive tackle group, just on eye test, they look bigger. Looks a little bit deeper in terms of size too. Can you describe what kind of advantage that group can bring to you in this matchup?
I do think we're bigger. Pat Kraft, thank you. Training table, thank you. First time we've had a training table in my 11 years in the football facility. It's been huge for us. It's been a real positive. But yeah, that position, we've been emphasizing size, trying to get a little bit bigger. Some of it is just natural maturation that needed to happen with some of those guys. Some of it is the training table. Some of it is them going through it and realizing that size is also one of their weapons. So I think that's been helpful. And I think Alonzo's been a guy that, after not seeing him for a year, we didn't know what we were going to have, and he's been a real pleasant surprise, specifically against the run. He's been really good. So very impressive from that perspective. But yeah, that's going to be important. Their quarterback can make plays with his feet. That has an impact on their running game. And then they got two backs that are very complementary pieces. Obviously, the young man from the state here that's done a great job, and then more of the workhorse, 240-pound kid who started out at tight end and then switched to running back. So two guys that we got a tremendous amount of respect for. I think their O-line coach does a really good job. Consistently, they play well. So it's going to be a challenge. There's no doubt about it.
James, how anxious are you to see what this offense can do against somebody else? I mean, obviously they've been going against your defense, but there's so much anticipation about what it's going to look like. How about you as a coach? What's going through your head?
Yeah, I think I got a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like because I've seen it for 16 hours a day for last, I don't know how long. But I think your point is a fair one. You never truly know until you go against somebody else. And then obviously, typically offenses in college football early in the season, you may see a few more things that need to get cleaned up than on defense. Typically on defense, if you can get them lined up, get their cleats in the ground, be gap sound, and then run to the ball, you're going to be more times than not in pretty good shape. Offensively, we got to make sure that we're doing a great job on all the pre-snap stuff, the substitutions, the motions, the shifts, all the pre-snap gymnastics that you go through. We got to make sure that those things are all clean, and then do enough of all the things that we've been working on in camp that can be challenging. Things that we've done in our history, things that Andy has brought, things that people have been able to see on tape and that from watching us as well as Kansas, and then some wrinkles that maybe they haven't seen in either place before.
Coach, you've opened 3 of the last 4 seasons at a Big Ten opponent for the season opener. How applicable do you think that experience is here going to West Virginia to start the season?
It's great. The Big Ten has prepared us for road games very well to open the season and to open the conference. So we embrace it. Obviously, when you think about, like Purdue, going on the road to Purdue to open the season, that was, I think, a pretty good environment and a tough game, as you guys saw. So this is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough environment. Got a lot of respect for them. They're confident after how their season ended. So it's going to be a challenge. But I do think we have enough veterans coming back that have opened in some of these games before, and that's helpful.
James, how have you seen Tyler Warren take the next step in his progression over the course of the offseason?
Yeah, he's been there, done that. He's been such a great leader for us. I think he's the most complete tight end in the country in terms of he truly is a weapon in the run game as a blocker. He truly is a weapon on third down in the passing game. And then obviously, just how are they going to treat him? He can line up wide and play like a wide receiver in a 4-wide set, but he can also connect in the box and be a lead blocker or working in a double team with the offensive tackle and a DN to the outside linebacker. So, those are the tight ends, in my opinion. When you talk to defensive coordinators all over the country, they're the ones that they hate, is when they can't put them into a category. This guy kind of is the big slug that everybody knows is just a run blocker, or this guy won't crack an egg but is a threat as a wide receiver. Those guys are not that difficult to defend because you can put them in one category or the other. The guys like Tyler, there's not many of them across the country that can do both, and they cause a lot of headaches.
James, sticking at tight end, I think this was the third open practice in a row we have not seen Khalil. Naturally, that leads me to believe we'll see more of Andrew Rapplier. How do you feel like he's prepared for this moment, assuming he is going to have an expanded role?
Yeah, I think you'll see a ton of Rapplier. I also think you'll see a decent amount of Luke as well in this first game. I think Rapp, as you guys know, there's been an excitement about him since last year, and he just continues to develop and get better. I think Tyler's influence on all those guys has been really good, and Luke has come in exactly what you want and has pushed those guys too. So he's a mature guy, and he'll have a role in this game 1 too.
James, you mentioned Omari. He said earlier this month that last year was a big learning experience for him with his expectations versus how it went. How have you seen him approach this year to have that kind of camp?
Yeah, he's had a really good camp, and he's made a huge stride. Omari's the guy I think everybody's excited for to come out and play well early on and gain confidence, and then literally he's one of these guys that his career could just take off. You talk about speed, size, athleticism, intelligence, like he's got all the things that you're looking for. We'd go out and recruit him every single year, and I think when he first got here, he was a really good athlete and maybe a little bit of a track guy who's really growing into football and understanding what it takes at this level. But he's a guy that I think there's a lot of excitement within the program that he's ready, and a few big catches and a few big plays, and he could be a guy we're talking about very different at the end of the season than maybe the conversations that are going on right now, and we believe that will happen.
James, with Kobe going into his first season and now being the team captain, how have you seen his leadership skills evolve since he's been at Penn State?
Yeah, he's just, he's that guy that he understands Penn State. He understands the Big Ten. He understands the culture around here. He knows how to work. Obviously, he also had the advantage of having a brother here and learning from his experiences too and his successes. And, he's just kind of that vet that you would love to have at Mike linebacker every year. I mean, he's kind of seen it all. I think he can command the defensive front, specifically the D-line and the other linebackers. You combine him and Jay Reed and KJ Winston, kind of like, I think you got a baseball shirt on there. You talk about, in baseball, you kind of want to be strong up the middle, right? Your catcher, your pitcher, shortstop, second baseman, center fielder. And that's kind of like, I think someone asked me a question about the D tackles, and then Kobe, and then KJ and Jay Reed and Zachy. We feel like we're built in a similar way, and that's probably, in a lot of ways run by Kobe specifically in the front seven. So we're very pleased with him. I think Elsdon has had a really good camp as well, and I think Tamir's had a really good camp as well. So we're excited about the development of that position.
Two more guys. What are the benefits you've seen up to this point, maybe from the start of the summer to now, for having had Katron and Nick split workload like they have for the last 2 years and so effective?
Yeah, I just think you look at that position and what's going on in college football, and you look at that position and what's going on in the NFL. We just want to make sure that we're one of these programs that's not only developing big-time college players, but also preparing them for their NFL future. And they're not one of these guys where the NFL scouts are down on because there's so much wear and tear. That helps us keep them fresh and keep them healthy for their careers. And it also puts them in a very positive light from an NFL perspective. And then, when you got Cam really coming on first right now, that helps. A lot of confidence for us to put him in the game. And then two talented true freshmen as well. So I think our philosophy that we have used, I think has been really helpful for Penn State, but also just as important and helpful for these guys in their futures too.
James, that depth you just mentioned at running back, maybe you didn't have that in the past. Do you feel like with the guys you have now, there's an opportunity for maybe those guys to see the field together more, knowing you've got guys that you could put into that lineup and you don't have to lose that package if one of them, something were to happen?
Yeah, and what you guys don't know, you'll see soon, is we're going to huddle, which you guys will love, and we're going to put 5 fullbacks on the field. like fullback here, fullback here, fullback here, fullback here. And everybody will be happy. We'll play goal line offense up and down the field.
Neil's not here.
It'd be awesome. No, Neil's not here. My audience is gone. But no, I think, being able to play some what we call 20 personnel, 2 backs, 0 tight ends, or 2 backs, 1 tight end. Maybe not a traditional 21 that people think with a tailback, a true fullback, a tight end, and 2 wide receivers, but 2 backs and then a combination of tight end, 2 receivers, 3 receivers, whatever it may be. There's a ton of value, and especially having a guy like Cam, who's also not a small back and has the ability to not only be a ball carrier but also a lead blocker, because that's really when 20 personnel is most effective, when they have to fear both of those backs as also blockers and also receivers. Katron has been really a good receiver since he got here. I think that's where Nick has improved as much as anything, is in his confidence and his ability to be a receiver. And Cam's always been a very, very natural wide receiver. So that's important for all those guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.